Total Patriot victory, American domination. We love to see it. Yesterday, America beat Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's always hard to say, Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina, 2-0. Absolute domination. One goal from Balogun and the other from, I forgot his last name's like Millman or something. But anyhow, total Patriot victory. We love to see the American Christian Patriot completely dominate the Muslim invaders, the Muslim foreigners, the infidels, as you say, the barbarians. Because if you know anything, Bosnia and Herzegovina is mostly Muslim because their largest ethnic group is Bosnian or Bosniak. I forgot how to pronounce it. And they are descended from the Muslim Slavs in the turn of the millennium. So that's how they are. Of course, they have Serbs and Croats as well, who are mostly Orthodox and Catholic. But yes, the majority of Bosnia and Herzegovina is Muslim. So we like to see it. Total Patriot victory. Christian American empire dominating Muslims on the world stage. We like to see it. We like to win. And after the win, we have the men's soccer team right here. Mark McKenzie leading the U.S. national team in prayer after Americans moved on to the round of 16. Praise God. Praise God. And like they're genuinely praying. They're praying to the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the one true God. They are lifting up prayers of thanksgiving. And this is such a refreshing display of faith and love. Love for your God, love for your country. So would you mind bearing with me as we compare the two? Just think. I won't show it, but you guys all know. Just think. The U.S. men's soccer team, it's a bunch of patriots who pray to the Lord, give him thanksgiving after every victory in the World Cup. Meanwhile, you have the women's soccer team. What do? They won how many female World Cups? No one cares. Why? Because there are a bunch of lesbians with a bunch of grievances against America. They lecture the entire American public about how racist and misogynistic and how transphobic they are. So who's gonna be the more beloved team? It's gonna be the men's team, of course. And by the way, like we said previously on this program, competitive sports is inherently masculine. So that's why there's a lot more appeal for male sports and the male World Cup versus the female World Cup. And no one cares about that because no one really cares instinctually to see women compete. That's not in our nature as men because we want to see women who are beautiful and elegant and pleasant and lovely. Men don't really care too much to see women compete, especially in contact sports and very high intensity sports, because it's not feminine. It's not what naturally draws men to women. But on the inverse, why do women love watching men play sports? Think about the typical high school scenario of the high school jock, the starting quarterback, or the all-star point guard on the basketball team, and his girlfriend on the sidelines cheering. You have the quintessential high school dynamic of the cheerleader, the cute cheerleader with the high school jock. Why does that work? And why is that so inherent in not only America, but all over civilization across the world? Because that is how God designed us, right? Men lead, men conquer, men compete, men build, and women are the helpmates. They are the supporters. And this is so natural that we see it, even with all the advent of feminism and very retarded egalitarian thought that convinces men and women are the same and interchangeable and can do the same things. You find ourselves seeing that nature wins every time because that's how God designed us. We can't escape that. And so that's why you see in the World Cup, tons of female fans cheering and loving the men and simping for them. I saw this video recently that made all of the stars like Messi and Neymar and I think even Christian Pulisic was in there, but Ronaldo, they made them into a K-pop boy band. Now, there's a reason why. It's because women enjoy watching men compete and play in sports. So, that being said, what is our takeaway? Well, our takeaway is that libs are being retarded again. So right here, look at this dude. Aaron Reiklin Melnick. Flo Balogun, who just scored the game-leading goal for the U.S. men's national team, was only born here because his mother's airline wouldn't fly her home to London at 7 months pregnant. She was on a tourist visa. Because her son is a U.S. citizen by birth, we're winning. So here's this dude. Who says, okay, Flo Balogun, who is, yes, a great soccer player. He's been doing incredible at the World Cup. And by the way, that red card call was ridiculous. It was obviously an accident. It wasn't intentional that he stepped on the Bosnian player's ankle. But yeah, give him a red card. But all the other instances of Messi or other players intentionally stepping on the shin or the leg or the back of an opponent player, oh, that's just a yellow card or just a regular foul. Give me a break. What is up with this anti-American sentiment? That referee needs to be investigated by FIFA. And the funniest thing that Trump can do actually is just deport that referee. I think that referee is from Brazil. But that being said, yes, Flo Balogun is a great player. We love to see it. He's a great soccer player. But then you have this guy, Aaron Reiklin Melnick. He's a senior fellow at the American Immigration Council, and he previously worked as an immigration lawyer with the Immigrant Justice Corps. He has tweets about trans visibility and trans day of visibility. We care for trans lives. Trans lives matter. Trans rights are human rights. And lo and behold, guess what ethnicity this guy is? I won't say it. I'm not going to say it. He was Jewish. He's Jewish. And this is why the anti-Semitism is increasing. I am not an anti-Semite. I don't agree with hatred of other groups of people, even if you're Jewish. But that being said, Jewish people are so left-wing in this country. They're so rabidly left-wing in this country. And they are at the forefront of, for example, you see this guy, he's a senior fellow at the American Immigration Council, and he previously worked as an immigration lawyer. They're at the forefront of the displacement of Americans. They're at the forefront of abortion. They're at the forefront of LGBTQ, civil rights, feminism. They've always been at the forefront of transgenderism, all of these issues, these social contagions and societal rots, if you will. It's mainly Jewish people. Not all, but Jewish people. Of course, we have the Catholics. We love the Catholics, but a lot of the Catholic NGOs and charities are also the ones facilitating mass migration into America. But why is it the case that people are increasing, the sentiment of anti-Semitism is increasing? Well, look at who is behind all the societal ills in a country. Think about the billionaires who are funding all of this stuff too. And so there's that, of course. Stereotypes exist for a reason. It's a distillation of truth, and people don't realize that. That's why stereotypes exist. Like, for example, the female Asian driver. We had Extra Emily, that streamer, the other day, almost crashed into a car. And it was basically the Family Guy meme. But yeah, Asian drivers, especially female drivers, are notoriously bad. I say so as an Asian man. They're very bad. They're not the greatest. They exist for a reason. Okay, but that being said, you also had Aaron Rupar right here. This is absolute, let's call him a fool to be nice, but this fool of a journalist. Flo Balogun, who is a U.S. citizen because he was born here, scores a go-ahead goal for the U.S. team in a knockout game. Score 1 for birthright citizenship. And it's just Twitter. They couldn't just leave it alone. They couldn't just say, hey, great win for America. America's doing great. No, they had to make everything about, look, this is why we have to allow for unconditional birthright citizenship for all people of all countries, of all cultures, no matter what. Birth tourists, foreigners, invaders, spies, they can come to America, and as long as you have a child in American soil, you can have a child in the plane over American airspace. That's an American citizen. Yeah, they are by definition an American. Such utter absurdity. It's insanity. Absolute insanity. But because one player, Flo Balogun, who happened to have birthright citizenship, happens to be a really good soccer player. Now we have to allow for millions of foreigners, especially from incompatible cultures and third world hellholes, to flood into America and then become American citizens protected by the American Constitution? Are you insane? How does that track? If you're going to argue for, yes, only bringing in the best and brightest, the most talented, very sparingly, sure. Because why is Flo Balogun someone who can integrate into American society? Well, look at this picture. He just posted this yesterday after he won. What is that on his neck? It's a red rosary. Now, we don't know specifically if he's Catholic or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is Catholic. Lots of great Catholic Nigerians out there. So if we are going to argue that certain people come into the country, at the very least, they should be Christian so that they can assimilate and contribute to the Christian fabric of America. But at the same time, you think about America's foundation, and America's ethnicity at its founding was distinctly a majority white Anglo-Saxon Protestant and a small minority West African descent. But I don't believe actually in calling black people African Americans, because I believe that they're American. So I believe in the distinction between white Americans and black Americans, but they are, by and large, American. So then when you have Africans immigrate to America, that's actually, they can assimilate actually a little better to American culture versus an African who goes into, let's say, Japan. Because Japan is for the Japanese and was always ethnically Japanese for millennia. So I actually don't have a problem per se with black people on the U.S. national soccer team because black people have always been part of American history, but they haven't been part of German history. They were never Germans. They were never Russians. They were never French. But then now you have the entire French soccer team being African and of African descent. So these are the conversations we have to have about national identity, but no one wants to have it because either you're racist, and most conservatives and liberals will call you racist for saying all of this. And then the other side is, I think, a little too idealistic when it comes to, yes, we want a white ethno-state and deport every single non-white. That's just not going to happen. So we have to think about national identity in terms of the foundations of the country. And yes, America, by definition, was an outpost of Christian Western European civilization with a minority of black people. So we can preserve that, and we can have people assimilate over generations. But to say Flo Balogun is a good soccer player, therefore you need to throw out your country, is an absolute absurdity. It is like this. These are the people who are well funded by these NGOs and these corporations and these think tanks that just opine about how great immigration is. The only thing that has gotten better in American society per se is the GDP, because you have more people to do more labor. GDP is just literally a metric of productivity. That's all it is. So you have more people doing more stuff, your GDP will go up. Yes, that'll happen when you have more immigrants come in because you have more people doing stuff. That being said, by all other metrics, American life has decreased. Life in the West, broadly speaking, has decreased. So we can't worship the GDP as the only metric for the health of a nation. There are other things that are more important. But just last thing I'll say, we'll move on, is just this thing, this idea that just because we have a select few immigrants who are excellent, we have to therefore open our borders completely and allow for the entirety of the third world to pour into your country. No, just say no. Conservatives just need to say no. No more rationalizing yourself anymore. They're not going to listen in the free marketplace of ideas. These people clearly just hate your country and want your country destroyed and subverted. These are not people acting in good faith. They're nefarious actors who want to destroy your country. They're enemies of civilization and traitors to your country. Just say no. All you have to do is say no and have harsh punishments against these people. But there's that meme All right, it's like, oh, sorry, your daughter was raped by a migrant, but we need to let all these people flood into our country so that we can be good at soccer. And by the way, it doesn't always translate to them being good at soccer. There's a reason why African countries have never won a World Cup ever. Why do you think that is? It's not like you don't need, per se, people from foreign countries. You don't need foreigners to win. And if you need foreigners to win, then you've already lost because you've lost your country. And for me personally, and I think for most patriots, they would say this and agree with me on this point. I'd rather have a country and I'd rather preserve my home than to win a sports game. I'd rather die standing on my 2 feet than live bending the knee. It's more important to preserve your home and your country. And by doing so, actually, you can have stronger soccer teams. The reason why Black Americans work in the American fabric is because they have a birthright and a claim to the inheritance of America because they were here at the founding of America. Call me, I don't know, call me liberal. I don't know what... These things don't mean anything anymore because people will always get angry at me for saying very sensible things. But Black Americans were a part of American history. So they can feel a love and a rootedness to the country versus a Senegalese migrant or Sudanese migrant who got to Ireland maybe a generation ago. They're not going to feel a love and attachment for the people and the country. So, Balogun, great player. He should not be out for the next round. I hope U.S. can hold down the fort against Belgium without him. But we got Pulisic. We got other great Patriots on the team winning for us, holding down the fort. Even with him out and only 10 players on the court, on the field, America still won. So, American greatness is unparalleled. We hope to see them win it all. I'm very proud of this team. And I wish I could show you the video, but after they ended, they were singing Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver, and it was just such an incredible, surreal moment. It's one of the most redneck songs ever, but you had the entire stadium, the entire team singing it together, and it is so fundamentally right-wing. We love to see it. There is a revitalization of American nationalism, patriotism, and love for country happening right now because of the World Cup. Anyone counter-signaling the World Cup is a loser, in my opinion. Learn to enjoy things in life and love your country.